this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. It's Wednesday and it's time for our Wednesday Live. So I'm just checking in to see if any of my my weekly pals are joining me, and let me know if you're out there, and if we've got sound and we're good to go. You saw the picture that I posted on Stamping Fusion today, or rather yesterday. I sent off a great big box full of all the bags and cards that I've been putting together for the kids that are in the pediatrics unit. So you can always go to my make a card, give a smile. It's on my group, and it gives you ideas of where you can give cards if you have cards that you want to make and to give, especially now during the holidays. I wanted to show a couple of cards. Now, last week we did the pendulum card. Well, I took the pendulum card and I took it to and tried out a different stamp set for for the holidays after Halloween, and I made this cute little snowman with and I believe the name of it is the Snowman Season, and it comes with the Great Punch. Now we're going to be doing a lot of punches this evening because I have a special card for you. So here's the bundle, and I got this as part of the flash sale that they had going on earlier last week. Graciela Valdez Vera from Mexico City. Graciela is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and she came up with a wonderful punch art card for Dracula. And here is the card that I came up with after I saw her fantastic card that she published on one of our demonstrator sites. I just put it on a wobble. Now, the really cool thing about Graciela's card is that she has actually come up with a mechanism that when you pull it, the wings, this cape opens up. I wasn't able to master that since I just put this card together yesterday, but I want to show you how to put it together, and I'm going to give you the link so that if you want to look at Graciela's YouTube video, you can see how you can put together the mechanism if you want your little Dracula to open up, because I think it's fantastic. I also invited her. I gave her my time and my link, so hopefully she might join us. I was hoping to send her my Zoom link so that we could even chat as a special guest. But in any event, not to worry, this is going to be fun. Now, I took Graciela's design and I kind of played it up a little bit. Now, what I did is I wanted to make him a little bit more spooky. And I just simply added red eyes to the whites of his eyes to kind of give him that really vampire-y look. And I changed up his cape to purple. And instead of a smile, I gave him red lips like he was dripping with blood, just like something from Boris Karloff. And I changed up the background. I just simply used our spider web embossing folder to kind of give you another idea on how to do that. And then once again, I just think it's so fun to put something like this on a wobble spring to send to especially young people, or it's just fun just in general. So this is the card that we're going to be making tonight. Hey, Cynthia, thanks for joining us. I'm also really happy relieved rather, that the storm that was heading our way in the Gulf has actually veered farther west. Now, that's really not good news for Louisiana. So please keep all the people in St. Charles, Louisiana in your thoughts and prayers as they begin to, as the storm heads their way. And hopefully it won't strengthen too much. But that's Hurricane Delta that is right now in the Gulf. So we were very, very nervous this week, and I didn't even know if I was going to be on tonight because we were making preparations in case it had originally Pensacola was within that cone. So it's really a tough year all the way around, right? COVID, hurricanes. It's just been crazy. So have the people of Lake Charles, Louisiana, in your thoughts and prayers as that storm begins to head north. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here are my cards. And all I did is I simply kind of just played up the difference between the eyeballs. And I'm going to show you all the punches that you need. And this is a punch art card. Now, what I used, or what you're going to need, and some of these, I didn't have all the punches that Graciela recommended, but I kind of improvised as best I could. So the punches you're going to need are the umbrella punch to create his cape and his collar. We're going to need the large oval, stitch-shaped oval, because that's going to create his body, and I've already cut that out right here. We're going to use the apple punch to cut out his little face. There it is. And we're going to need the owl punch. This is retired, but if, you know, I always love getting Stampin' Up! Products, especially their punches, and I'm keeping them, not letting them go, because you can come up with some really neat ideas for how to use these punches. You'll need this punch. I used it for the eyes, and I also used this little piece here for his vest. So you'll need this punch. I took this is another retired punch, but the for his bow tie. But Graciela used the bow that was with the gingerbread punch. If you remember, if you have that punch, that's the punch that she used. I used my snowman punch, the little arms here, to create his little arms here. And I used the, where is it? Oh, she used a triangle. I don't have the triangle framelits. So I used this part of this punch to come up with what's going to be his pants and his legs. And I also had this little mini punch right here. And this little mini punch is what I used to punch his two little feet right there. And lastly, I used this punch, and this was Catherine's idea, because I used some white cardstock, because I added these little ears, because I thought they kind of really added a lot of character to our little vampire, our little Dracula. And lastly, I used the framelits and the set from the Hollows Night Magic, which comes with these really cool little mini bat framelits. And then I used the stamp here that says, and I have it already on my block, that says Happy Halloween. Now, for this card, and I already have it cut and embossed, this is 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm going to put it on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. That's going to be my base card, which is, 5 1/2 by 4 by 4 1/4. This is going to be my base card, and we're going to go ahead and put our little Dracula there. Now, I went out and I purchased, and I have several sizes. These are neat little tins that are in the holiday catalog, and I'm using these tins to store some of my crafting things. These are you can buy 100 of these, and they're very inexpensive. But these are little mini springs, and I've used these for some cards. And then these are the much larger, the regular size, medium size springs. And let me show you where I used the mini springs. I used on this little snowman here, took the mini spring. It fits perfectly on there. And then Dracula takes the regular size. So I'm just going to grab a regular size spring right here and put it right there so that we can have that. But those are just some really cool things, tools to have in your craft room. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to put this aside, and the first thing I'm going to do to kind of start out my Dracula is I have his body. Now I cut this out of a piece of DSP, and here it is. I mean cardstock, and I just cut it out so that this measured. It measures about 2 inches. It measures about 2 inches from the bottom to the top, right there. So I didn't want it to use all my cardstock. I just went ahead and cut it off an edge. Now I'm going to take my my umbrella punch, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch these pieces, which are going to be his collar, and I'm going to punch his collar there, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch his wings. There's going to be a lot of pieces flying. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 of these. I'm going to have 2 of these, and the rest of these are just scraps. So that's what I'm cutting out in purple to take care of his body. And let me just go ahead and move out a little bit more. Now I'm going to cut in black. I'm just going to take a piece of black cardstock, and I'm going to use my ornament punch, and I'm just going to go ahead, and I really just want to cut just basically the tip of my ornament right there, because I am going to trim that off. So that is going to be my, those are going to be my legs. And let me just put some of the black stuff over here. I already have the little vest that I cut out for his vest, and then I have his head already cut out. Now I want to cut out his little feet, and I'm using this little halfway punch, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just cutting these little pieces here. There's a foot, and there's a foot, and I have little arms already cut right here. There's my feet. There's my pants. And now I want to cut my eyes. Now this is where I like to use, this is where I'm going to use my my owl punch here. I've got 2 sizes. Let me see if I can get another piece of black scrap paper. And I'm going to cut these smaller pieces right here are going to be my eye centers. There they are. And that's just trash. And I'm going to grab a piece of red, and I'm going to cut, and I'm just going to put this in here, and I'm going to cut red. I'm going to make his eyes red. So, and then lastly, I'm going to grab some of my glimmer. I've got some of the black glitter paper, and I'm going to take my bow punch, and I'm going to go ahead and cut. And you know, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see. I'm going to do this. See if I can. I don't like to waste a whole lot of this paper, but there you go. There's my bow. And there is my bow tie. So let me just move these out of the way. So I have, I need hair, and that is going to be out of we're going to, now here is these are our stitch shaped dies. And I'm going to go in here for a circle for his hair. And let me make sure I have the right one. And that's too big. So it's like the second down from this circle. And I think that's it right there. And you're going to have to trim. You're going to have to trim quite a bit. So let me just go ahead and cut that. Okay, so here is this is his head right here. Okay, so let me put these back in here and put that aside. All right, so now I have his eyes, I have his hair, I have his head. I'm going to need his ears. So I'm just going to grab a piece of white cardstock and I'm just going to cut. What I'm doing is I'm just cutting right here in the point. Let me see if I can get that to go in there. I'm just going to put that one. I'm going to slide this over. Okay. So now I have all my pieces and parts. So to begin with, I'm going to grab his head, and I want to place his head right on kind of in the middle of this black circle here. And I am going to just grab a pencil because I'm going to I'm going to trim on both sides of this circle, and I just kind of want to make sure that I kind of have drawn a line right here where I'm going to trim on both sides. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to trim here, and I'm going to trim here. So now that my little face is going to fit right there, and you can see how his hair is going to go right about there. So now I'm going to go ahead and trim this back because I don't need all this black. I just need that. I just need the top. I just need the top of the black right there for my for his little head. And then I'm going to grab some of my glue. And I've got some glue right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue that right there. And let me just move it over here so you can see what I'm doing. But you kind of see what I want to do. Now, what's really cool is that these stamping chalk markers can be used to create his part. Now let me show you how this is done. Let me get back into camera. All you do to create his part is use your stamping chalk marker to kind of just create like that, and that's his part on his hair. See that? It's pretty easy. And you can kind of go over and just kind of make sure that it comes out, but there you go. There's his little part. Now, I'm going to take, oops, sorry, wrong way. Okay, I'm going to take these two triangles that I cut, and I'm going to open these. I'm going to put them together. Okay, they're lined up because I'm going to make his ears. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these straight alongside that point like that. Okay, those are his ears. All of this is scrap, so I'm going to put this aside. And then I'm going to put some glue on these little pieces here. And I'm going to adhere them right over here under his hair, right there. So I got this ear. And Dracky, Old Dracky has little pointed ears. I kind of wanted some pointed ears for Dracky. So I'm going to put that one right there like that. And that kind of lines up his ears. We have his part, and here's his little chin. Now, to do his face, we're going to do his eyes. Now, I want to tell you that this tool is terrible at picking up like sequins, but it is absolutely great at picking up. Look at that. It's great at picking up paper. It really picks up paper really well. So I love it. So we're going to take his little eyes right here, and I'm going to put two little globs of glue right there on my red. All right, and then I'm going to pick up my black, and I'm going to put this eye right there like that. And then I'm going to pick up this one, and I'm going to put that one right there like that. Okay, so now Dracky has his red eyes. I'm going to let those dry a bit, because then I'm going to move them over here. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to adhere his body onto the back of his head. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some glue right here. Okay, so there is Dracky's body right there. All right. So now I have this little vest, and this little vest, look at that, isn't that cute? There he goes. There's our little vest. It's going to go there. Now I'm going to take these pants. This is the bottom of his trouser. But before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put his vest right here, and I want to kind of measure from the bottom of his trouser. Oh, let's make sure I don't lose my eyes. Okay, so from here to here, I want this triangle to kind of meet right there, and then this is going to meet right there. Okay, now see how wide that is? I'm going to trim this down, and again, I'm just going to use my pencil, and I'm just going to kind of mark where I want this kind of trimmed. I'm just kind of making two little marks right here. And then, let me pick this up. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to trim this down to my triangle like that. You see how I trimmed that now. So now that's kind of trimmed. All right, and then this is going to go, our little vest is going to go on top of that. So we're going to put a little bit of glue at the bottom of our little vest right here. And we're going to put that on the top of our little triangle like that. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside because that's going to dry. Meanwhile, my eyes have dried, and now I'm just going to kind of place my eyes where I want them. And I kind of like them like that, and they're even kind of a little bit cross-eyed. So I'm going to use my picker here, and I'm just going to put a little blob of glue. I've got a little bit of time, and I'm going to put this eye here. Pick up this one. So this is a really useful little tool right here, this stamping tool for picking up little pieces of paper. Okay, so I'm kind of blinding my eyes up, right inside this socket. And if I want to move them out, I can move them out. If I want to turn them more a certain way, I can turn them kind of more a certain way. But I kind of like them looking a little bit hypnotic. And I have a little wet nap because I'm just going to kind of blot some of my glue. All right. He doesn't need a nose, but if we look at our model, I'm going to put some very pronounced eyebrows, and I'm going to use a stamping marker here, a black journaling pen. You can also use your stamping right marker in black. And I'm just going to turn this around so I can see it. And I'm just going to, and you can do it with a pencil first. I always get nervous when I do. I'm just going to make like 2 V's like this. Okay, so hopefully you can see, you know, those 2 V's right there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do with those 2 V's is I'm just going to kind of go on like this. All right, but I'm going to fill them in like that, because if you look at any of the pictures, he's got some pretty pronounced eyebrows, right? So there he is. And let me smooth that one up. That one looks a little rough. I want to make sure that's kind of smooth. There you go. So he's got some very pronounced eyebrows, and I think the more pronounced they are, the better. Now, for his mouth, I used a red Stamping Right marker, and all I did was I used the fine end, and I just went ahead and I kind of made him have kind of like this little bit of a mouth here that's lined in red, because that's where all the blood is, right? All the blood. And then I just want to put 2 little fangs like that. And there's his little face. Now we're not done yet. We're not done with his eyes, because if you need to grab one of these gel pens, and I've used these before, because now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dot the center of his eye, like with a pupil, okay? And then I'm just going to kind of add kind of a little bit of kind of a half moon on the outside. Let me just make sure that. And there it is. There is Dracula, and maybe I need to make this a little bit bigger. And there's Dracula's eyes. Now, on this eye here, I used a little bit of, you can see they kind of glow. I used a little bit of the, of my Wink of Stella right there. But I think I'm just going to kind of keep him kind of plain. But there he is. There's his face. All right. So let me move out a little bit, because now we're going to grab his pants and his vest, and I'm just going to go ahead and put them there, because what we're going to do, you know, line them up. We're going to center them up right there. And let me just go ahead and put some glue right there. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of line that up right there. And because I've got this bow, his bow tie, I can push this down. I can push this down a little bit so that, you know, I have room. All right, because my bow tie is going to go right there. But I'm going to trim my bow tie. And I'm going to trim it just simply by doing that. And then I'm just kind of trimming off a little bit of the edge. So then that's going to be my bow tie right there. Okay, so that's glued. So now we're going to grab our little feet. Let me get my little tool here. And we're going to put his little feet right there, like that. So let me grab some glue. And you can kind of use the pointy end of your tool just to kind of get everything kind of aligned. All right, so there he is. Now, I used a little mini glue dot to put his tie on right here, and the ones I used are black, and I put them on the sides of my tie. So I have my mini glue dots, my black mini glue dots on either side of my bow tie, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that right there. There it is. Okay, so now he needs a couple of buttons. I'm going to use my gel. I have a black gel pen. I'm going to use my black gel pen to go ahead and give him a couple of buttons. And I'm going to give him 3 buttons on this tuxedo rather than 2. He's got 2 there. I'm going to give him 3. And what's neat about the gel pen is it actually creates a nice shiny dot. Okay, so now we have his body. Now we're going to take that chalk pen again. And let me pull in here, because what we're going to do is we're just going to run this down his pant like that, and that's going to kind of show that that's his pant leg. And I'm going to just run a little bit of chalk, kind of a reflection on his shiny shoes right there. So you can see that he's looking pretty good right there. Okay, so there is Dracula. We've got his body. Now here's the best part. The best part is if you take your umbrella, let me move out so you can see this. If we take our umbrella, we turn our umbrella, and now he has his collar, right like that, okay? And you can decide how wide you want his collar to go, but I kind of like the 2 and then that third one kind of peeking out like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this over so that you can kind of see that I like having this kind of coming out like that. Let me show you on one side. Let me turn this around, and I have time to kind of move it around because I really like kind of having that that kind of wild collar like that. I think that's really cool. So I'm just going to lay that down. I got a little bit of a glue there, but if I just get a little wet now, I can go ahead and just blot that glue right up, and it's gone. Okay, so now I'm going to put on the rest of his cape, and his cape are the other pieces of the umbrella, which are going to come out like this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of put this on a couple of dimensionals. And let's see, where did I have those dimensionals? I'm going to have a couple of dimensionals up here. And I have my little hands. I have my little, there's my little snowman hands. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of just put that right there. And then I'm going to put this one right there so that you can kind of see he's opening up his cape. All right. Now the reason why I put it up on dimensionals is because now I have room to glue his little arms in there. Because you know this is a very layered project. So I just kind of want to put this hand right here. And I want to put this hand right over here. And turning that around. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it like that. And it kind of gives me room to put his little hands. And once again, if I get a little bit of too much glue, all I do is I just kind of blot it, and it's not a big deal. Now, there is Dracky. Isn't he cute? We've got him all done. Now I'm going to turn him around, and you're going to see that there's probably some pieces and parts here that we might want to glue better. So I'm going to add another glue dot like right under here to kind of hold that in place. And then I'm going to add another glue dot right under here. I'm going to take off this top, and I'm just using my finger. And that kind of holds. Now he's held on there. He's a little bit better. Now I'm just going to turn him around, and here is my spring. Now the spring comes with a kind of a very hard plastic piece, and then kind of a flat, soft piece. This flat, soft piece is the piece that goes on your card. So I am going to and there you go. So there's how you create Dracula. So he spins around, and it's kind of a takeoff from Graciela version with the red. I just kind of wanted to make him a little spookier, and there you go. You have three different versions, or two versions for putting together Dracula. I will have all the punches that you need on my blog and at stampartconnection.com. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really appreciate Graciela from Mexico City for sharing her card, her idea, and allowing me just to kind of play with it a little bit and add some different way to put together Dracula. So hopefully, if you're able to do it, please post it. But that's really all I have. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week, and please pray for all the people from Lake Charles who are in the storm's path at the end of the week. Okay, this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and stampartconnection.com. Until next week, have a wonderful week. Happy stamping, and stay well.